We're going to start by watching a video about my original inspiration and how it began when I was your age. So here we go.
So when I was a kid, I loved mysteries. I would come home from elementary school, I'd plop down on the couch, I'd pull out my homework, and I'd watch DuckTales. It was a Disney show about treasure hunters and mystery finders and reading maps, and I loved that stuff. I dreamed about it. I thought someday I should create a story about mysteries. The Oracle series is just that. So I studied the world, all the different continents, looked at the geography and noticed that there were unexplained mysteries all over the world, real places on our Earth. There are 6 unique landmasses, 6 continents on Earth. Each one is guarding an element, and each continent has its own unique mysteries. In the Oracle series, our main character's name is Rhett. He has this ball, it's called the Oracle, and it has 6 markings on it, the same that match up with our protagonist's hands, and he has no idea what his destiny is with this ball. Well, the ball opens up and the elements fit inside these wedges, and each element is guarded or protected by these real-life mysteries on our planet. Places like the Bermuda Triangle, the lost city of Atlantis, the Nazca Lines, Easter Island, the Bimini Road, Machu Picchu, it's the City of Gold, it's the Northern and Southern Lights. All these mysteries that are really fascinating and really cool, they're explained in these books. So things like I would love about the DuckTales are real in these stories.
Okay, so what we just learned about is that my original inspiration started when I was your age, watching cartoons like DuckTales. I loved the mysteries. I wanted to learn more about them. So I've been studying real-life mysteries ever since then. And now, as an author, I've come up with a fictional story to explain why those mysteries really exist. So now I'm going to show you another video. This one's about the Oracle, about the characters in the book series, and also some of the backstory before I show you the books and all the mysteries. So this is the Oracle. The Oracle is a translucent ball about the size of an orange. And when Rhett holds the Oracle ball, it opens into 6 identical wedges or compartments. And something goes into each one of those 6 empty wedges, 6 elements. The first one is earth, then fire, or wind, wood, and of course, water. So these are the 6 elements that Rhett has to find. They're hidden somewhere on the planet, and Rhett has to go through all these really cool real-life mysteries to find them. That's kind of the premise of the books. Now, let me tell you about the characters. The main character is Rhett. He's our protagonist. He's our good guy. He's got blonde hair. He's got these weird scars on his hands. And at the beginning of the story, Rhett loses his memory, and he gets adopted by a family called the Coopers. The Cooper's mom's name is Pauline, and the dad's name is Jarrett. Jarrett is a Coast Guard captain, so he does lots of cool things with ships and at sea. And the Coopers have a daughter. Her name is Anna. And Anna's best friend's name is Paige. So Paige and Rhett and Anna, they're the main characters. Paige is kind of shy. She likes to read books. Anna's more outgoing. She likes to go shopping. She likes boys, stuff like that. Paige's last name is Coy. Her dad's name is Ben, and her mom's name is Helen. Ben Coy, he's this wacky scientist guy. He has all these really cool, fun inventions. He's kind of a fun character. Oh, and Paige, she thinks Rhett is kind of cute. That is disgusting. We're not going to talk about that today, I promise. Let me tell you guys about the setting. You guys know what the setting is, right? It's where the story takes place or where it starts. The setting for the Oracle series is a real city. It's called Tybee Island. It's in the state of Georgia. And at the bottom of this peninsula is where the Coopers live. They live in this little tiny home. Do you see it? And across the creek is where the Coys live. The Coys live in a huge place. It's called Coy Manor. Remember Mr. Coy? He's the wacky scientist guy. Well, he has unlimited resources, and he helps Rhett go on his adventures. Oh, there's one character I didn't tell you about yet. The bad guy, the villain, the antagonist. He's worse than Darth Vader. worse than Maleficent. Wait. Get this. He's even uglier than
Hello.
Megamind. The bad guy in the Oracle series, his name is Lie. It's kind of like a lie you might tell, right? But it's spelled differently. It's spelled Lye instead of Lie. So I'm not going to tell you much about Lie today. You guys can read about him in the books. We're going to get rid of Lie because we don't like the bad guys, right? Okay, thanks for laughing at my jokes. So in the beginning of the story, Rhett finds a prophecy. It's on a piece of parchment like this, and this is what it says. What now is 6 must be 1. Earth's imbalance to be undone. Fill the oracle, pure elements reunite, cure the world, one line has the right. So this becomes Rhett's mission, his destiny. He's got this oracle ball, he's supposed to fill it with elements, and somehow that's supposed to fix the world. So I'm going to tell you about all the books and all the really cool mysteries in each one of the books. The first book is called Sunken Earth. So the element that Rhett collects in book 1 is earth. It's like a little tiny piece of dirt. And the scar that's on Rhett's hand is this triangle. That represents, guess what?
The Bermuda Triangle? Gosh, the scariest triangle in the world.
So the Bermuda Triangle is the first mystery that I fell in love with as a kid, and it's real. The reason it's called a triangle is because between the city of Miami, the island of Puerto Rico, and the island of Bermuda forms a triangle. And in that part of the Atlantic Ocean, lots of weird things have happened, and they're true stories. Ships have sailed into the Bermuda Triangle and vanished. And airplanes have flown into the Bermuda Triangle and completely disappeared. And those are true stories. And people used to think maybe there's a monster or an alien or a time warp or something weird in the Bermuda Triangle. But in reality, it's a place where there's really strong currents. Sometimes there's hurricanes. Sometimes the compasses don't work right. So the local people there, they call it Devil's Triangle because it's kind of scary. Inside the Bermuda Triangle, there's another real-life mystery called the Bimini Road. There's this little tiny island. It's called Bimini. It's inside the Bermuda Triangle. If you go to this island, right next to it at the bottom of the sea, there's this weird road. And if you scuba dive and you go to the bottom of the sea and you look at it, it doesn't look natural. It looks man-made, like something used to be there. Like maybe a wall or maybe even a city. So I wanted to see if this Bimini Road was real. So I went there. I got in an airplane. I flew into the Bermuda Triangle, and I didn't die. Then I got on a boat. I put on some scuba diving gear, and I went to the bottom of the sea to see if I could find this road. This is a picture of me underwater, and I found it. It's called the Bimini Road. This is a picture of me underwater, and this is the road over here to the right. Looks really cool. Doesn't look natural. I also found a starfish. Yeah, so I named him Patrick. So you know that road at the bottom of the sea? People think that's where Atlantis used to be. Have you guys ever heard of Plato? No. Not Play-Doh. Plato? Okay, there's this ancient philosopher guy. His name was Plato. He's the guy who wrote about Atlantis. So if you want to study Atlantis, you have to read the writings of Plato. Well, Plato said Atlantis was real. He said it was a real city. He said it was technologically advanced. It was really cool, had 3 rings. But then Plato said the entire city disappeared. It sunk to the bottom of the sea in one day and vanished, and no one's ever found it. That's why it's called the Lost City of Atlantis. Well, that's where Rhett goes at the end of book 1. It's pretty cool. Okay, here's book 2. Book 2 is called Fire Island, so the element that Rhett collects in book 2 is fire. So every one of the books has a different element, there's a different scar, there are different continents, and there's different real-life mysteries. The first mystery in this book is a place called the Nazca Desert. This is a real desert. It's in the country of Peru. And you see this guy, he's explaining that the road that he's on, it looks like any other road that you might walk on or drive a car on. But when you get high up in the sky, those roads make pictures. You guys see the whale? See his fin and his tail and his body and his face. That's a real picture of a whale in this desert. But you can't see it when you're walking on the desert floor because it looks like a normal road. But if you're high up in the sky, like in a helicopter or an airplane, you look out the window, you see all these weird designs and pictures. Look, there's a hummingbird, and there's that whale again, and there's a spider, and there's a man on a mountain who's like waving at you. Yeah, those are real pictures in the desert. Isn't that weird? The next place that Rhett goes to is a place called Machu Picchu. You guys have probably heard of Machu Picchu before. It's a pretty famous mystery. It's a city that was built at the top of a mountain, like at the peak, at the top. And it's deserted today. That means nobody lives there anymore, but it's a tourist attraction. People hike to it, they take pictures. It's this really cool mystery. So after Rhett goes to Machu Picchu, then he goes to another mysterious place. a place called Easter Island. You guys have probably heard of Easter Island before. It's also pretty famous. You guys know why it's called Easter Island? Because that's where the Easter Bunny lives? No, just kidding. It's called Easter Island because the guy who discovered it, he found it on Easter Sunday. So that's why they call it Easter Island. This is the place where all these weird statues come from. They're called moai. There's hundreds of them all over the island, and some of them are really, really tall. And they're all made out of the ash from the volcano that's on the island. Well, they help Rhett find the fire element. Rhett actually has to go inside the volcano to get it. It's pretty cool. Okay, here's book 3. Book 3 is called River of Ore. So the element that Rhett collects in book 3 is ore. You guys know what ore is? Ore is like a metal, like zinc or copper or silver or gold. And Rhett has to find a mysterious place called El Dorado. Another really famous mystery. El Dorado is the legend of the city of gold. The next place that Rhett goes to is the Amazon River, and then he goes over to the Nile River. So he has to go to 2 great rivers. And then, after he goes all the way up the Nile River, he ends up in a place called Egypt, where the pyramids are. And you guys have probably heard about the pyramids before. Another really cool mystery. That's where he finds the ore element, or the gold element. Okay, here's book 4. Book 4 is called Solar Wind. So the element that Rhett collects in book 4 is wind. This book's really cool. A lot of scientific mysteries in this book. The first mystery are the aurora. Sometimes they're called the northern lights, sometimes they're called the southern lights. And I'll explain to you using science how these created. It starts with the sun. You know that big ball in the sky? Well, the sun shoots out these things called solar flares. More scientifically, they're called solar wind because they move throughout the galaxy like wind, like a wave. Well, those solar flares, they're really, really, really dangerous. They would burn us all up and we would all die if the planet didn't protect us. Because the planet is cool like that, right? So watch, this how it works. It's really cool. Here comes a solar flare from the sun, from the left, you see it? Instead of hitting the Earth, they hit these magnetic fields and they bounce around us, like this. And then it creates this big galactic spider. Do you see it? Just kidding, it's not really a spider. Okay, so then what happens? All this stuff, all these charged particles from the solar flares, some of them shoot back to the Earth and they follow those magnetic fields. So some of them shoot to the South Pole, and some of them shoot to the North Pole, and then they react with gases in the atmosphere, and that's what creates the northern lights and the southern lights. Pretty cool, huh? Science in action. So I wanted to see if the northern lights were real. So guess where I went? I went to the North Pole. Yeah, when I was writing book 4, I went to the North Pole to see if the northern lights were real so I could write about them and study them. And this is what the northern lights look like because I saw them in person, and they're real. They happen all the time. All day long, all night long, but in order to see them, it has to be dark and not cloudy. You look up in the sky, this is what you see. Usually they're green, but sometimes if there's different gases in the atmosphere, they'll burn purple or pink or even blue. Pretty cool, huh? So that's the first mystery in book 4, the aurora, or the northern lights or the southern lights. We also talked about solar wind, which is one of the mysteries. Oh, the last mystery in book 4 is the abominable snowman. Yeah, he's in book 4, and he's a good guy. He helps Rhett find the wind element, so he's pretty cool. Okay, so what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go through book 5 and book 6 really quick, because we're running out of time. Book 5 is called Mutant Wood, so the element that Rhett collects in book 5 is wood, and the 2 mysteries in this book are the Tunguska explosion. It's a really cool explosion, the largest recorded explosion on the planet, but it's a mystery. And then the second mystery in book 5 is Stonehenge. Stonehenge is a really famous mystery. You guys have probably heard about it, but it's also a mystery, and that's in England. So it's this really cool mystery that's also in book 5. Let me tell you about book 6. Book 6 just came out. It came out earlier this year. Book 6 is called Water's Deep, and it has 3 really cool mysteries in this book. The first mystery is something called the Iron Pillar. It's this really cool pillar. It's made out of iron, but it never rusts. It never decomposes. So it's this really cool mystery. The next mystery is something called Meteor Crater. This is a real crater. It's in the state of Arizona. It's the largest intact crater in North America. So that's also in book 6. And the last mystery in book 6 is the Fountain of Youth. And this is a picture of a real place as well. It's actually in Yellowstone. You can walk up to it and see it. It's really, really cool. So those are the mysteries in book 6. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed all those mysteries. I only talked about a few of them. There's a lot more in the books. But here's a picture of the 6 books that are out so far in the Oracle series. I only told you about 6 books. There's actually going to be 7 books in the Oracle series. Today we talked about earth and fire and ore and wind and wood and water. So there is going to be a 7th book, and I'll tell you about that in a few minutes. But first, we're going to watch a trailer, and this is a trailer that I made to introduce the first book, so it's kind of cool. So here's the trailer. Enjoy.
You know why you like this spot so much? Because this is where we found you. The morning after my husband disappeared at sea, you wash up here in the lifeboat from his ship. And nobody knows who you are.
You have powers that you don't yet understand.
Welcome to Tybee High School, son.
Some will want to take it from you.
I'm glad you're here.
But you're here for a reason, and you must find out why.
Okay, so that's the end of the trailer. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. I've got a couple more quick things I'm going to show you, and then I'll turn my screen off. So this next part's my favorite part. It's a picture of my kids. So I'm a dad. I have 5 kids, 4 girls and 1 boy. And the reason I showed you a picture of my kids is because I wanted to write books that were clean and wholesome and appropriate for every age to read. So there's nothing bad in the books. Even my youngest child, Grace, even she could read them. So there's nothing bad in the books. But I also want to write books that were educational, that help readers become better people. So there are themes and stories and morals in all the books that help readers become better people. So for example, you see the picture of Donald Duck up there? Every cartoon you watch with Donald Duck, he gets mad. He loses his temper. He does something foolish. Donald Duck has a character flaw. He's got anger issues, right? Well, in the second book, when Red is trying to collect the fire element, he wants to do it so badly. He's so passionate about it, like fire, that he kind of loses perspective. And one of the adults pulls him aside and says, "Hey, dude, slow your roll. It's not the most important thing to collect this element. There's more important things in life." And he teaches him about virtue and self-control and things that would really help Donald Duck, right? So that's an example of one of the themes or morals in the story. That's why it's my favorite part, because it helps readers become better people. Okay, here's the last slide I'm going to show you. And this is the part where you might want to get a piece of paper out or write down different things. So if you guys do social media, or if your parents do social media, then I have Instagram and Twitter and Facebook. I also have a YouTube channel. They all have really cool information. It's all clean and wholesome. You guys can check it out. You can see the videos that we went through today. You can watch the trailer again. There's videos about me and all the different books and mysteries, so it's pretty cool. I also sell all kinds of cool stuff like glow-in-the-dark wristbands and stickers and bookmarks, little oracle balls, lots of really cool stuff. And if you want to buy the books, the best place to buy them and the cheapest place to buy them is on my website. Right there in the middle is my website, oracleseries.com. There's lots of places to get the books. You can go to Amazon, you can get ebooks, you can get audiobooks, you can get hardcovers, you can get paperbacks. And again, the best place to get them are on my website. It's also free shipping. You can also buy the audiobooks in USB drive and CD. So anyway, there's lots of ways to get the books. So write down oracleseries.com. That's the way to get to all the different stuff that you can see on the screen. And now I'm going to stop sharing my screen so we can do some questions and we can do some answers if that's what everybody wants to do. Okay, thanks.